Well, I started thinking today while I was making a gasket for a sump for an engine that I'm tinkering with, of things that we use tobacco tins for in workshops, because we made that little thing the other day about a chalk sharpener. So all my life I've used these things for stamping holes in gaskets and stamping holes in leather and so forth. Lots of people use them for lots of different things, and one of the good ways of using them is into a pad of lead. And this one was cast into a tobacco tin and it's beginning to wear out. So every few months, a few years I suppose, I melt it again, or melt some more lead again, and cast another one, cast myself a new one. So Constance wanted to film what I'm doing, so here we are. I guess there are a few things that ought to be said about this. I mean, lead's a fairly inert substance. Wash your hands, don't eat it, don't pour it on yourself when it's in molten form, and so forth. Probably ought to say don't try this at home, folks, says the bloke who can't be bothered to go out to the forge and light the forge and do it, so he's doing it on the fire in the front room. But there, lead has a fairly low melting point, so we just sit here until this melts, or until I can't hold the ladle any longer, which is actually might happen. I might have to go and get.
I've got various. You could get the I get the Arga glove if you want.
Yeah, we could do with a
I think the Arga glove would be a good idea.
That'd be a good idea. I usually do this on the forge, and the heat distribution is a little bit different on the forge. Because it's on a forge fire, you're keeping the heat in, and it's a coke fire. It doesn't push the heat out at you as much as this one does. So it's actually getting quite uncomfortable being here now. Whereas on a forge fire, it wouldn't be too bad because you keep the heat in, and you don't feel the heat standing next to you. If you can feel the heat off a forge fire, you're doing it all wrong. But the lead is starting to melt. I can see it in the ladle, just beginning to melt. So I should be able to pour this into my tin fairly shortly. Kind of important that the tin's dry, so I put it there to dry it out. If there's any moisture in it, it might spit, and that might hurt. It's melting the lead. It's just taking a little while over it, and that's all. There, you can see the molten lead in the bottom of the. But it's not the ideal fire. If it were a forge fire, it would have melted very quickly, because the forge fire keeps the heat in, and this disperses the heat.
That's the whole point of our indoors fire, is that it disperses the
exactly
heat.
that.
You made that on purpose.
I'm using this for something it was never designed. In a way, it was never designed or intended. But I can't be bothered to go and light the forge.
Still not getting any light. You're not worried about any other little impurities getting in there, then?
Well, no, the slag will just float off.
All right.
So there we have molten lead.
This feels all very Rings of Power.
We'll put a bit more on.
Oh, I can see that very nicely.
Let's be a bit careful about it. Might take a little while. My other favourite game doing melting lead is at reenactments, showing the public how to make musket balls.
Yes.
But then you've got to be quite careful, because pouring lead into that tiny little hole in the top of the bullet mould requires a fairly steady hand.
Like melting chocolate, very satisfying.
Very. I don't think this would taste as nice. Now you can see the slag floating on the top of it, you see.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it really matters for what we're doing here, but anyway. We're going to be in our own light.
We are a
again,
bit,
aren't we?
yeah.
What about if I do
That's good.
that? Does that work
Yep.
enough?
Yeah. That works very nicely. And so now we just leave it to cool.
We just leave it to cool. Well, now it's cooled down. See what sort of state the old one's in. In here, we've got little stamps. I think you'll probably do. Maybe we'll go up to size that big. Stamping holes in gaskets. And here is a gasket cut for a side plate. And I've got to stamp some holes for the bolts to go through. And I drew through the plate, so I know they're in the right place. And here's our nice new fresh pad. So what I need is a hammer, and we just do this. And it doesn't really matter whether we're dealing with gasket or leather or cloth, or even perhaps a fine layer of brass shim or something. If we need a hole in it, this is how we do it. And every few years, every few months, I cast another one of these, so it's all shiny and new and smooth. And you see the way these things work. They just sort of cut the cardboard and push it out the other end, sort of thing. And that's it, really.